All right, coming up on this episode of Table Culture, Mike and I are going to be talking about 2008's Stone Age. It's a really fun worker placement game. Probably not necessarily like a grandfather of the type, but it's definitely an early adopter of that type of gaming. So it's going to be a fun review. Check it out. All right, we're back for another episode of Table Culture. I'm Tim.
I'm Mike from the Game Tower.
Yeah, Game Tower, and Mike decided to join me on this one. So he's got a veritable experience on board games as well. So he's gonna give his perspective on Stone Age with me, and we're gonna talk about why it's a much beloved game. So Stone Age is 2008 game, right?
Yeah.
And I have the Rio Grande Games edition, which we were just talking about this before the video. It's gone through the reissue a few times now. Hey.
Yeah. Stone Age is what some people consider an evergreen.
Yeah.
I personally consider it as like the best gateway game for a worker placement style of board game.
Yeah, it's great for specifically that game mechanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I have a 10-year-old stepson, and I haven't played with him yet, but I keep thinking like, how am I going to introduce him to that mechanic? And this is like a perfect example of worker placement, right? Because it's not the only thing you do, but it's a very primary element to it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's always good to have a worker placement game where it is, send this worker to this spot and take this. Stone Age is a little bit more advanced in that you have to roll for your resource production.
Yeah.
But some of the other spots are direct, whereas you take whatever's there, such as not food, but the birthing.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just talk a little bit about the different things you do in the game. So obviously it's set during like prehistoric times. I don't know what the exact era is. It's like maybe like 10,000 BC or something like that. Okay, so let's go over some of the different things you can do with Stone Age. So you have your food track, which indicates how much food you generate each turn, as well as your point track, which is the border of the game board. And then there's different areas, like we mentioned, that you can kind of go into. Yeah, so let's maybe just go over each one. So.
Well, and so each circle represents like a meeple spot, so to speak. The food one is here, but it's open, so you can send as many as you want there. Depending on your player count, these will be restricted. So once you actually send one person per circle, you can't send any more people to go get wood from this location.
Right.
However, then at the bottom of the board, each card has a spot on it, so only one player can place a meeple on that spot.
And same for the huts.
Yeah, and same for the huts as well, right? But only one player can take that spot and then take the tile. And so it is an actual strategy within the game to block someone from getting something, even though they can afford it, right? Because these have their associated costs. The buildings have their associated costs as well. Yeah,
so buildings cost resources, and that would be like four different of one.
Yeah.
So, or is it four of? I think it's four of one.
Any four.
Yeah, any four of, but you have individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like Mike said, it's a really simple game. It's not like there's a lot to it. Some people, and if you've played lots of board games at this point and you haven't played this, and you know what you like, you may find this to be a little simplistic. But I think you have to know your audience. Like, it's important to play this with people who either don't play a lot of board games, or like you said, it's a gateway game. Play it with people who haven't played this type of game yet.
Yeah, or people who either don't enjoy or don't want a challenging game. Stone Age, as sort of an evergreen and a gateway, is one of the best worker placements out there. What it does really well is that it makes the decisions interesting and enjoyable, but they're not too difficult to figure out or calculate what you want to do as a player.
Right. And you can play it with just two people, or you can play it with up to four. So like, there's a little flexibility in terms of groups setting. And then, I always say this, if it says 60 to 90 minutes, I would add half an hour in there for rules explanation.
Yeah.
But if you can play it under 2 hours, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, and once you know the game, it plays quite a bit faster. One other thing about player count, although it's rare and hard to get, there is an expansion.
Yes.
The one that's called Style is the Goal.
Yeah.
It's also just referred to as the expansion.
Yeah,
which is
that was my notes. It's just called the expansion.
Yeah, but it includes some other expansions, some more resources, as well as a 5th player color.
Right.
So it's a black player color.
Yeah, which is great because if you play this game like many classic, I guess we can call this classic at this point, classic board games, people usually want to play with more player count, and then they're like, oh, it only plays 4.
Yeah.
So that's a reason to acquire the expansion for itself. And then there's also the more recent My First Stone Age, which is great for very young kids, which I've actually played, and it's not bad. Yeah. It's not obviously the same as this in terms of complexity, but
how does it change?
So you're actually doing a race track. So you like play different tiles, and then you're trying to collect just resources, and whoever collects the most of a certain type of resource based on whatever can like just get the hut immediately. You don't have to go to different markers. You just collect the resources, and then it's like an auto fulfill.
Kind of like in Splendor, right?
Yeah. So then whoever gets to 3 huts first wins. So it's a very, very simplistic version of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No breeding, no tool making, just collecting resources and then huts.
Yeah. And no cards either.
No cards.
Yeah. Which is where most of the meat of Stone Age comes from.
Yeah. Like you'll find when you play this game, and this is what I learned when I first started playing it, is usually the way people win is usually through the set collection. It's not just collecting the huts. Like you'll find someone will come in at the very end and they've got like 7 different resources, so that's like 21 points right there, and then they also have the most chieftains, and they just they just destroy you in the end game.
This spot moves you up the production track, so you're just better farmers. And then over here, although we don't have the tiles out, this is where
you gain tools.
The tools are.
And tools are important. We haven't mentioned this yet, but tools are important in the sense that they help you with your dice rolls. Yeah. So they mitigate your dice roll issues.
Yeah, you'll store your tools here on your board, and so then once you've placed to roll dice in a location, you roll as many dice as you have workers at the location, and then after you've rolled them, your sum total gets you so many of that resource.
So that said, I think it's a really fun game. I think you agree too, Mike.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It's I'm happy to always bring it to the table. And if you liked the video, please give this review a like. Please leave some comments if you've played it before and you have differing opinions, or if we've missed anything, of course. And subscribe to the channel and hit me up with a bell notification if you want to see future reviews. Well, Mike and I will have some other reviews coming up, as well as I got the movie and music reviews as well. So thanks for watching Table Culture, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh man, I heard stories of people smelling their rubber cups.
Oh, that's so true though. Some people are weird about stuff like
or
that.
Or leather cups or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to know that it stinks, it's old now.
Yeah.
I've had this game for a long time.